Okay.
There was something that caught my attention.
Ehiosun, still in line with your argument. Now you have identified that at some point there was promise, there was future, there was hope. But at some point it started degrading. What few factors do you feel would have been responsible for that gradual accentuation into some kind of deplorable state? You had mentioned the quality of leaders, but recall that leadership is derived from its people.
Yeah, there's no contesting the fact that leadership is derived from its people. But that statement is too simplistic to put the issues in due perspective.
Okay, you can buttress it.
Because even if leadership is derived from its people, see my point. Even if leadership is derived from its people, the burden of responsibility upon leadership is not same as that which is upon the average man or the people like you put forth. So a man could have been so bad because of the company he keeps. But when he now becomes the person that steers that ship, that determines where the company goes, the responsibility upon him is to chart a new course, however bad it has been in the past. So the fact that you are saying that the people get the kind of leaders they deserve is not in contest. But the leaders are the ones that actually shape the people in the long run.
Okay.
Look at it. It's a known fact in sociology that majority of citizens in all societies are conformists. What do those people conform to? In every society, you see people conforming to what they look up to. And in the hierarchy of human affairs, the peak of the ladder is the political structure. That is superstructure that superintends over every other sector or segment of society.
That's correct.
As wonderful as America is, until Trump emerged, not to undermine his leadership as a president, but until he emerged, Americans did not know the extent to which their people could tilt towards being supremacist inclined. Some things that they thought were very, very
subliminal,
minimal in terms of the impact it could make on them,
were
amplified by the personality of the president that they had at that time.
Okay.
So I'm saying it in very clear terms, like I affirmed just now, that it's not subject to contention. That in every system,
leadership shapes
a ladder of hierarchy. And people look up to those that are on top. By the rule, the impact of any individual in a society is
all right, we
in that
have,
of leadership in his sphere of authority. In the same church, if an usher makes a mistake, his mistake may have impact, but the impact is minimal to the extent that his influence spreads. That is why leadership plays the most vital role.
Okay, haven't established these facts, or can I use the word theories, that make a lot of sense about leadership. Then let's apply it to the Nigerian situation. Going back to your first statement, what happened that leaders who were supposed to make its citizens conform to whatever started plunging the nation into a state of some kind of deplorable disposition? Corruption rose, a lot of things happened. And Nigeria, that we used to call the giant of Africa, even the Nigerians are not even sure whether we're giants anymore. I want you to apply that theory to what happened, what may have happened between the 60s, when there was promise, when there was hope, when there was potential, to now, 2023, that we are having to battle with a lot of issues that would have been avoidable if we had better directions from our leaders. Honorable.
It's gradual decadence. You see, in the evolution of nation states, nations don't fail by chance. Nations fail by choice. In the same light, nations succeed by choice, which is reflected by the actions they take, which normally is, of course, tantamount to the prevailing viewpoints or the overwhelming viewpoint of the majority of the people in society. Now, I mentioned Singapore when we commenced this discourse. The story of Singapore is one that is worth reflecting on. Because as at the time in question, they were not a nation to reckon with. When Nigeria is mentioned, Singapore was not even in view.
True.
As at 1965, when he came for a UN conference in Nigeria, he made reference to it in his book. But the same nation, under the leadership of one man, inspired his people. Barely 2 decades after that period, Singapore became a first world nation. While Nigeria, that had the inspiration or the potential to be a great nation, declined further in the base of third world nations.
That is correct.
There is nothing more to it than the fact that nations are built on laws. But for laws, nations will simply tease towards Obesian state of nature, where life is brutish, short, nasty. So where laws are not prioritized, of course, the decline in nationhood is definite. Aristotle said something in his piece. He wrote a piece about 350 BC, the political. Section 1212 specifically of that piece. He said that in a democracy where the law is supreme, the best citizens occupy the government. But in a democracy where the law is not supreme, he said it results in a systematic monarchy where a few people preside over the affairs of state and lead discretionally. So Nigeria got to where it is presently because impunity was given the pride of place, the law was pushed to the back seat. That is the basic truth. Because nations evolve over time with deliberate effort at ensuring that laws are prioritized. Because what makes for a nation is the enforcement of laws. But see where we are today. There's been not just gradual, but geometric degradation in our law enforcement index from that time till date. Right now in Nigeria, if government policies are made, the level of enforcement suffers from a deficit that is tantamount to the law enforcement index that we reflect as a nation today. I was talking to somebody recently and he said that by the index of law enforcement, Nigeria cannot even be given a scale of 20 or 25%. And how can a nation make progress when the nation lacks the wherewithal or the seriousness to enforce its laws? Unfortunately, a nation is as sound, as progressive, as is effective, and as sustainable as its capacity to enforce its laws.
Quite instructive.
I have my personal opinion.
Yeah.
You know, as at the time we started in 1960, it was a parliamentary system.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there were flaws. No system is perfect. The world over is part of the human evolution. But on and on and on, there are deliberate efforts to correct flaws, to ensure that what is good is made better. But rather than prioritize that lane, the leadership in the First Republic was doing good until politics and impunity took charge, unfortunately. You know what Tafawa Balewa and the then the MPN leadership, the MPC then, it was MPC, because the Second Republic it became MPN.
Yeah.
They were so inclined to taking charge of the system. And unfortunately, they had alliance with the NCNC. And what had his shortcomings? Nobody is perfect, but it was driven by his own ambition. So in terms of cutting him short by all means, they short-circuited the law. So in short-circuiting the law, they brought about the violence, popularly called the Wild Wild West, in the early 60s. If they had prioritized following the law, if you read Awo's piece, he wrote more than 20 books with so many of them detailing what happened at that time.
Exactly.
If the leaders at that time prioritized following the law, the First Republic could not have collapsed. But rather than placing premium on the law, they place premium on themselves, because there is no nation that can survive when the discretion of its leaders takes the place of primacy as against the law. Nations can only survive as much as the law takes the place of primacy in everything that pertains to the evolution of that nation's state.